Good morning. We're back. You're tuned in with the Encourage Services Show on Spreaker.com. I am your host, Encouragement Javi. This morning, we're doing the second episode of creating a mission statement to just go over a few things. We were talking about inwardly, for us, your heart, negative spaces and positive spaces that could take place in your life concerning your heart inwardly. And there were 5 items, just in case you're not going to listen to the first episode of creating a mission statement. I'll read them off for you. They were, the first one with creating negative spaces is unforgiveness, bitterness, hatred, unresolved issues, and uncontrollable anger. The positive spaces that creates in life inwardly that are very important is forgiving oneself, accepting yourself, unresolved issues dealt with, creating calmness in life, and maintaining self-control. We also had discussed how this could affect you negatively. Say, for example, a lot of times when people have unforgiveness in their heart, they can have negative stressors such as hatred for someone. Sometimes they can overeat more so than others. A lot of times they might gain excessive weight. They may have bad memories. With inward anger, they can become indecisive, controlling, or aggressively demanding. Whereas with positive space, when people choose to open up their hearts and forgive, learning to deal with issues, unresolved issues, dealing with cleansing the heart, which is simply the opposite of bitterness, where perhaps maybe they pray, maybe the person meditates, maybe the person just decide that they're going to open up their heart and just choose to allow peace and calmness to be in instead of anger and hatred and discord and strife. Perhaps they just want to walk in love by simply speaking positive things instead of negative things. But they're deciding to open up their heart for a newness of change to take place in their life. And they're recognizing how unhealthy eating, being indecisive, or handling stress the wrong way can cause buildup in their life and how they respond to others. That doesn't mean that you're doing these things. It was just some examples that I was giving. But if you're interested in creating a positive space in your heart and your life as a change and a commitment to yourself, we have this great audio on Spreaker.com/user encouragement, right where you're at now. And it's 3 episodes called Commitment to Yourself. You don't have to listen to all of them. You may want to listen to just one. It could help you out a lot when you're trying to create positive space. It talks about more positive space in the mind, though, instead of the heart. But first, the heart is more important for helping how the mind thinks. And if you want to learn more about how to create everlasting peace in your life one day at a time, we also have this great episodes. It's 3 of them called Creating Everlasting Peace in Your Life. You may want to scroll down and look at that. It will probably be on the first or second page. Since this is our 31st episode, it was like one of the first row or second rows in the columns of episodes that we had created. So we wanted to talk about the steps you need to take in order to recognize negative space in your life. One step is you want to look in your heart and see what negative space you have created in your life. Step 2, you want to be open-hearted and acknowledge to yourself what negative space you have allowed in your life. And step 3 would be you want to be open to change and learn to create positive space in your heart and in your life. This is very important, as these will help you. Once you deal with your heart, it'll be much easier your mind will be more opened when you deal with your heart, and it'll be easier then to change your mind, because everything starts inwardly in the heart. If you try to work from the outside first to the end, it won't help. You have to work from the inside first and work your way out. So your life mission statement. Now, if you don't understand, let me back up here. When you're trying to deal with these, let me go over this again. I don't want to move too fast because not everybody may be able to pick up and understand quickly as others. Step 1 was you want to look in your heart and see what negative space you have created in your life. That simply means if that you want to see, for example, with myself, I needed to look in my heart and see what negative space I had created in my heart. A lot of negative space that I had created in my heart, for example, was bitterness. I was a victim of all types of child abuse. And so, if you name it, it was there more than likely. So, I had a lot of buildup. And I had a right to be bitter, because that's how our body reacts. We just wasn't created to accept all that abuse and discord and strife. So my body reacted by defending myself to being bitter toward the person as a way of protecting me, but really the person didn't feel that. But it was a great mechanicalism for me, because I felt comfort in knowing that I had such bitterness for that person. But as I grew older and matured in my heart and my mind about this situation, I began to realize that that was too much negative space taken up in my heart. That bitterness had taken up about 80% out of 100% in my heart, and I did not know that. Can you imagine if I continued to do that, raising my children the whole time? And then once I began to deal with it before I had my children, I wound up getting married and got divorced about 5 years later. I had to revisit dealing with bitterness again because I was bitter. And I began to realize I have to choose to deal with this, or I'm going to pass it on to my children. I might take it out on them, and if I don't take it out on them, they'll see me treating people any kind of way, especially people that I don't care too much for or like too much for. So you want to look in your heart and see what negative space you've created in your own life. But I had a lot of negative space. That was just one. Sometimes when we come from different backgrounds of abuse, and it's really extreme dysfunctional, we have at least anywhere from 15 to 30 different areas that have taken up space in our heart that can actually physically kill us. So step 2 would be open-hearted and acknowledge to yourself what negative space you have allowed in your life, because it's so important that you acknowledge it to yourself. You can't get away from yourself. You have to live with yourself. And I've learned to embrace yourself. You want to love yourself and tell yourself that you love yourself, because sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. And if we hate ourselves, we can't get away from ourselves, and neither our mind or our heart, and we're not going to do ourselves any good. We'll further damage ourselves, and we certainly don't want that. Step 3 is be open to change and learn to create positive space in your heart and life. As you're admitting some things, I don't expect you to admit everything to yourself, because a lot of times people who've had bitterness for years or unforgiveness for years, they might forgive and then somebody else come along and do something else and they hate that person. So it's learning. You're just simply learning little steps. And it's okay if you gotten rid of bitterness and maybe a situation came back up and you have a little bitterness there, I'm not saying stay in bitterness. What I'm saying is it is okay that a lot of times that is our body letting us know that we've been mistreated or hurt, but we got to find a different way to deal with it, a much healthier way, so that it would not affect our mind and our heart set so to the fact that we want to hurt people, or we just want to live that way, or we just can't function without thinking that way, because what you don't want to happen is different distorted thinking views to come in based off of how we're feeling. You want to be in control instead of allowing your feelings to control you. So now we also want to look at your life mission statement. This mission statement is all about you and what you would like to work on within your own life. What is in your heart that you need to work on. So what you want to do is get a piece of paper. You can draw in circles and bubbles, however you so choose. You don't have to do that if you don't want. You can get one lady I knew got a poster board. And as you do this, you want to put your life mission statement, or you can put creating my mission statement with your name on it. You can put it in big letters, small letters, however you want to do it. I sometimes hang mine up in the living room. Sometimes I have mine in my bedroom, behind some photo albums on the shelf in my closet. But you can choose to look at this every day or once a week, however you want to choose to look at it. This is the question you want to write. What is in my heart that I need to work on? As you're creating your life mission statement, what is in my heart that I need to work on? And you write it down, because this is your life mission statement. You've got to live with yourself, and you got to learn a different way to cope with your life. How do I want to grow as a person? You can put down grow emotionally, mentally, however you want to grow as a person. And then you want to write down, what things do I need to let go of in my life so that I can move on with my life? As you answer those 3 questions, you want to begin designing your statement, meaning write down your statement. For example, I am a person who loves myself. Therefore, I will start creating everlasting peace in my life by using more self-control in my eating habits, having better control of my anger, and reducing the amount of stress in my life. However you want to do it, it's your mission statement. If you would like us to help you with your mission statement, you can email us. Our email address is services@encouragementindytrauma.org. That's services@encouragementindytrauma.org. As well, you can call our toll number at 1-866-524-4828, extension 2836. Again, our toll number. If you also want to sign up for free encouragement services, our encouragement services is a little different, where we encourage people on how to walk through the steps of forgiveness and teach them how to walk through the steps of walking in love and peace and creating their own happiness. Although we are a Christian organization, we're a non-profit family Christian organization, you don't have to be a Christian to sign up. The sign up is free of charge, and we have an intake form for you to fill out because we need that for our records. But you can just choose creating a mission statement or creating a Christian mission statement, or both. We call it just like, for example, creating a mission statement general, because that means it's not geared toward Christianity, whereas the Christian creating a Christian mission statement have some Bible verses that go along with it, and about how God wants us to forgive and things of that nature. And we also have a Microsoft document with creating a mission statement. Those are PowerPoints in itself, the Christian one and the regular one. But then we have a Microsoft document letterhead that we don't read. That's for the clients who sign up for our services, and either we mail it to them or email it to them. When in some cases, people who don't have email and they don't want us to mail it to their house, they'll ask us to fax it. They'll go somewhere like, I forget the name of the service. A couple of people were using, believe Office Max, and they'll pay a certain amount of money while we fax it on our end, so that they could have it ready if they didn't have email and they didn't want us to mail it to their homes. But if you're interested in signing up, that number is 1-866-524-4828, extension 2836. If that number is hard for you to get through, our home number, our main office number is 419-956-4172. As well, we can walk through some people with the mission statements and the Microsoft Word document. We also have some classes about forgiveness and anger management and learning to walk in love and peace. You can book us at clickbook.net. That is clickbook.net. Encouragement service. Now we're going to move into decision making skills. There are 4 steps that you want to consider taking when it comes to decision skills. The first step is you want to learn to forgive yourself for choices, mistakes, and sins that you've made. That will help you with your heart statement and with dealing with your heart. And the second step is you want to accept the things that you cannot change. The third step is you want to own being responsible for your life. As you accept the things that you cannot change, you are beginning to acknowledge that you've made some bad choices, mistakes, and sins, and that you forgive yourself for that, and that you are wanting to own being responsible for your own life. And as you begin to do those 3 steps, which is learn to forgive yourself for the choices, mistakes, and sins that you have made, accept the things that you cannot change, and own being responsible for your life, you'll begin to accept being responsible for your life and start being responsible for your life. There was one person that used the encouragement services, and as she started taking these steps, she was really a blessing, and I learned a lot from her, I tell you. She said, since I started forgiving myself, I'm beginning to realize that all that bad credit on my report is my responsibility. She said, I did it to myself. She said, I didn't think about that. I always thought it was everybody else's fault. And I just simply was just listening to her on the other end of the line. She said, I'm free to know that it is my fault. And it was so funny. But she began to cry, and she said, all of my life, I did not realize that she was an alcoholic. And she had chose to use alcohol as part of her pain because she had been a victim of sexual abuse by her real father. And no one in the family, even though they believed it and they knew it was true, And this gentleman had raped other people in their family, to the brother's family, to the mother's family and cousins. They did not agree with her going to school telling, and so she was considered an outcast. She wound up being placed in foster care and then several different group homes. And it really hurt her because she always tried to call her family again and would go visit, and they didn't want her. And finally she said, I accept the fact that they don't want me and that I should have left that relationship a long time ago. So she went through, she had always been in and out of counseling for maybe the past 10 years before we met her in 2007, but she actually got in counseling, and she said, Jabby, I'm not going back. I decided I'm not going back no more. It causes me too much stress, and they blame everything on me and tell me I'm the troublemaker. She says, I know I wrecked my life, but I'm going to start a new life for me. And she started working with, some people call them sins of the heart. She started working on the sins of the heart, or looking inwardly about the negative and positive choices in her heart. And she said, I didn't realize I had a choice not to forgive. Sometimes we don't realize that, especially when we're going through so much pain and so much trauma. Within a year, she has stopped drinking the alcohol. Sometimes she went back every now and then to once a week when she felt a lot of pain on the holidays, because she didn't have her blood family with her, and that was her only way of usually dealing with it. But it was better that it was once a week than just every single day for 5 and 6 hours a day. She wound up having very severe liver cancer, but she got through it. About 3 to 4 years later, she would call sometimes to see how her family is doing, but she was not very close to them at all. Her father had passed away, and she said, I am satisfied with the fact that he didn't tell me he loved me, and that he never accepted me, and that he never acknowledged anything, although he was charged and he had admitted to them what he'd done. So it was very sad. It was sad, but she was happy. She said it was the best experience that she experienced in her life, is calling him, knowing that he was dying on his deathbed, and did not admit anything, that she began to realize the truth about him and her family through that. And as she hung up, she began to pray that God forgive her family and what happened to her and the other kids, and how they were in denial about it. And she said it was much easier for her to move on with her life. So the 4th step is accept being responsible for your life and start being responsible for your life. There are 4 decision questions. The first is, will this decision affect the rest of my life? The second is, pray about important decisions that you make. The third one is, give yourself some time to think about your decision before you make it. The 4th one is, have a peace, quiet, and calm day to think about the decision that you're going to make, and seek wise counsel. When I say wise counsel, I mean people who are not going to just judge you based on what you did. The reason for counseling is to help the person through their emotional or mental or physical trauma, whatever it is they are going through, and to help the person, to help guide the person and direct the person so that they can move on with their life, not so that they can stay up under you when you continually always need their help. But if some people might be at that state where they need that, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. This is the end of our show. So I want to share with you a little bit about encouragement services and my life story, and then we're going to end the show. But before I do that, I want to let you know that we're going to be coming on Spreaker sometimes once a week, maybe every day, but I'm not for sure. When we come on every day, it doesn't mean that we're going to always be here every single day, all the time throughout the year, because we want to primarily come on once a week. And we're going to start doing some commercials. So we might stay on anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour within the next couple of weeks as we start adding commercials to the show. But we're called the E-Courage Services Show on Spreaker. We're on 10 other podcasts, actually 15, but we're on 10 active ones. I'm not to the point where we're able to do the other extra 5 that we have as of yet. But Encouragement Services started in 2002, actually. And the name of it is actually Encouragement Blossoms Indie Trauma Incorporated, but we go by the name Encouragement Services or encouragementindytrauma.org. And that is simply because we want to help those. Our mission is to help the people cope mentally and emotionally with some of the problems they had with sins of the heart and maybe some things going on in their mind. But we don't always say sins of the heart because, everybody is not Christians who come to us, and neither do they have to be. The majority receive Jesus into their heart when they leave, but then there are some that don't. But our primary goal is to help those overcome a traumatic crisis, to help them through it. We can't really help them overcome it, but we can help them through their traumatic crisis by giving them emotional support and some advice, but certainly they don't have to take it. We are not licensed, and we encourage you, if you're in some type of therapy or counseling, to please let your counselor or therapist know about us and what it is we're exactly saying, so that if you're working on something with them, that is fine. If they listen to us or read our pamphlets or brochures for those who want information about us and you would like us to mail you information, please give us a call. We have plenty of information to mail to you. Soon we're going to have the folders that we used to have. We used to have these big, huge folders with 4 or 5 different pamphlets set up for different regions that we target, people who we target differently. We might target a certain set of people in another country or a state who are going through depression. Then we might target some people who have suicidal thoughts. It just depends. But our toll number is 1-866-524-4828, extension 2836. Our main number, if you cannot get through to the services department, is 419-956-4172. You may also email us at services@encouragementindytrauma.org, encouragementindytrauma.org. That's services@encouragementindytrauma.org. You may visit our website at encouragementindytrauma.org as well. We also have another website, that's jiggsy.com/encouragement. Our hours of operation are from 8 in the morning until 11:30 p.m. right now, up until I believe it's the end of April or the beginning of May. And that is usually for intake. An intake is simply where people call and they want to sign up for our services, and we mail them out a form or email them a form, or maybe we'll tell them a little bit of what Encouragement Services is about. If you're interested, please give us a call or email us. Or if you want more information about us, we keep all information confidential, and we certainly don't judge you for whatever it is you talk with us about, or your past mistakes or lifestyle, or we're just simply here as an emotional support to help those through trauma. This is the end of the show, and we want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Encouragement Jabby. Hopefully, we will see you the next time and have encouraged you.